So we're away, a really good start there, and now starts to move through his Gout Gout. So the Queenslander, he hasn't even touched the ground yet, the young man, and he's boomed away here in the heats, and he's gone. 10.05! How do you do, Gout Gout? That is absolutely unbelievable. Ladies and gentlemen, that is history. 10.05.
Right, so today we're going to be diving into something pretty exciting in the world of sprinting.
Yeah.
And we've got a bunch of different sources here. We've got some articles, we've got some race analysis, even some stuff from social media.
Yeah.
All about this young Australian sprinter, Gout. Gout.
This is incredible. I mean,
yeah.
What really grabs you here is not just the raw speed we're talking about,
Right.
but the whole context of this. I mean, this guy just ran 20.04 in the 200 meters.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and that's not just some random time, right? He obliterated a national record that has stood for over half a century.
I can't even imagine
Yeah.
a record that was previously held by Peter Norman.
Right.
And for those who need a refresher,
Yeah.
Peter Norman is the guy who won the silver medal at the 1968 Olympics
That's the one.
in the 200 meters.
With Tommy Smith and John Carlos.
Exactly,
Yeah.
that iconic image.
Where they raised their fists on the podium and
Yeah.
Norman stood with them in solidarity.
Powerful moment. Powerful moment.
Yeah.
And to break a record with that kind of historical weight
Mm-hmm.
at 16 years old during his school championships,
I know.
it's just mind-blowing.
It's not just talent, right?
Right.
It's something else entirely.
Yeah, like a whole other level.
Makes you think about the mental side of it, too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, imagine the pressure of chasing a national record when
Yeah.
you haven't even graduated high school.
It's like most kids are worried about prom dates, and this guy's out there chasing Olympic ghosts.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
But, and here's the thing.
What's that?
He doesn't even seem fazed by it.
No.
There's a quote from him where he just says, it's pretty crazy.
Hmm.
I'm just a kid and I'm running them down.
Wow.
He's like almost surprised.
It's like he doesn't realize the magnitude of what he's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that that kind of grounded attitude
Mhm.
is actually an advantage for him at this stage in his career?
I think it might be.
Yeah.
Because without the weight of all those expectations, right, it's just out there running free.
Yeah.
Purely on instinct and talent.
Pure raw talent.
Yeah, and that can be incredibly powerful, especially in a sport like sprinting,
Yeah.
where mental focus is everything.
Oh, for sure.
But the real test is going to be, can he maintain that mindset as the pressure starts to build,
Right, as the attention grows.
as the world starts taking notice?
Yeah, because the world is definitely starting to take notice.
Absolutely.
I mean, he's already being compared to Usain Bolt,
I've seen that.
partly because of his height.
Uh-huh.
Gout 6'2".
Yeah, he's got that Bolt-like build.
Yeah, but also that running style.
Oh, yeah.
There's a certain fluidity and power in his stride
It's unmistakable.
that's kind of reminiscent of Bolt in his prime.
It's tempting to make those comparisons, but, we have to remember that Bolt's dominance
Yeah.
wasn't built on physique alone.
Right, it was more than that.
It was his technique,
Yeah.
his explosiveness out of the blocks, his ability to maintain that top speed longer than anybody else.
So to really understand Gout's potential,
Yeah,
we need to really break down his races.
exactly.
Look at his splits, analyze his acceleration phase.
Got to get technical.
Okay, so let's get technical for a second.
Right.
For those of us who are not, sprinting experts,
Yeah,
can you kind of walk us through what we should be looking for when
Yeah.
we're watching Gout run?
of course.
What separates just a good sprinter
Mhm.
from a potentially great one?
Okay, so one of the key things is acceleration.
Okay.
How quickly does he hit his top speed?
Right out of the block.
Out of the blocks, exactly.
Have it.
Another thing to look at is stride length and frequency.
Okay.
Now, Bolt, for example,
Yeah.
was known for his incredibly long strides.
Right. He was covering more ground with each step.
Exactly.
Right.
But it's not just about length.
Right.
It's also about efficiency.
Okay.
So you want to see, is Gout wasting energy with any unnecessary movements? Is he maximizing his power output
Okay.
with each stride?
So we're really talking about biomechanics here.
Yeah.
The physics of movement.
Absolutely.
It's not just being fast.
Mm-hmm.
It's about being technically sound,
Right.
using your body
Yeah,
in the most efficient way possible.
exactly. And that's where coaching and training come into play.
Okay.
And speaking of, that brings us to Gout's upcoming trip to the U.S.
Oh, yeah. I was reading about that.
Yeah, to train with Noah Lyles
Noah Lyles.
The reigning Olympic 100-meter champion.
That's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, Lyles is not just fast,
Right.
but he's also incredibly strategic in his races.
Absolutely.
What kind of impact do you think
Mhm.
this kind of mentorship will have on Gout's development?
Well, I think Lyles
Yeah.
excels in both the 100 and the 200 meters. So
Mm.
he can offer, invaluable insights into
Yeah.
the nuances of each race.
Okay.
The 100 meters is all about that explosive power,
Right.
whereas the 200 requires more stamina and pacing strategy.
Got it.
So Lyles can teach him how to conserve energy in those early stages of the 200,
Mhm.
how to build speed gradually,
Yeah.
and then,
Unleash.
unleash that final burst of energy
Right.
in the last 50 meters.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
And we can't forget about just the psychological aspect
Oh, yeah.
of training with an Olympic champion.
Absolutely.
That confidence boost.
It's huge.
Learning from someone who's been there, who's faced that pressure and triumphed.
Exactly. And I mean, that's
Yeah.
invaluable.
It is invaluable.
If you're a young athlete.
But beyond just technique and strategy,
Yeah.
what I'm really curious about is, how is Gout's raw talent
Right.
going to translate onto the world stage?
That's the big question.
Because right now he's dominating at a national level.
He is.
But how will he fare against, like, the best sprinters in the world, many of whom have been training at this elite level
Right.
since they were kids?
Since they were kids.
So let's dive into that.
Okay.
How does he actually stack up
Yeah.
against other rising stars in sprinting?
Right.
Is he really on track to becoming one of the greats?
Let's see. Well, that's where things get really interesting, right? Like, we got to go beyond the headlines and actually look at the data.
Right.
Compare his times with other young sprinters who are making a name for themselves internationally.
Gotcha.
And one name that immediately comes to mind is Letsile Tebogo from Botswana.
Oh, yeah, Tebogo.
Yeah.
He's been incredible.
He has.
I mean, didn't he become the first under-20 athlete
Yes.
to break the 10-second barrier
He did.
in the 100 meters?
Incredible.
Unbelievable.
His personal best in the 100 is actually a mind-blowing 9.91 seconds.
That's insane.
Yeah, making him, a serious contender for a medal at the next Olympics.
Wow.
And remember, he did that at just 19 years old.
Okay, so Tebogo's clearly a force to be reckoned with.
Absolutely.
But how does Gout's time of 10.04 in the 100 compare to that?
Right.
I mean, is that gap significant in the world of elite sprinting?
In a sport where hundredths of a second can make all the difference.
Right.
Yeah, that gap is actually quite considerable.
Mm.
However, we do have to consider Gout's age, right?
Right.
He's still a year younger
Yeah.
than Tebogo was.
When he set that record.
Yeah, he set that record, exactly.
So there's still room for him to grow and develop physically
Yeah.
and potentially close that gap.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like we're watching this thoroughbred racehorse,
Mm-hmm.
still learning to harness all of its power.
I love that analogy.
And that's what makes it so exciting.
It really does.
It's like Gout's potential is this vast, uncharted territory.
Yeah, we're seeing these flashes of brilliance,
Right.
glimpses of his raw speed.
But we haven't seen the full picture yet.
Not even close.
It makes you wonder what Lyles is going to focus on in their training.
Yeah, will he prioritize maximizing Gout's explosiveness in the 100?
Trying to catch up with Tebogo?
Right.
Or will he kind of shift the focus to the 200,
It's a tough call.
where Gout's already broken that national record?
Yeah, Lyles himself is a master of both distances.
He is.
But he seems to, slightly favor the 200.
Really?
Yeah, and it's interesting because that race requires a different approach.
Okay.
It's a delicate balance of speed, endurance, and tactical awareness.
So it's not just about raw speed.
Right, it's about running a smarter race,
Yeah.
knowing when to conserve energy.
So maybe Lyles will teach him
Yeah,
how to kind of time that final burst of acceleration.
exactly like playing chess on a track.
I like that.
You got to anticipate your opponent's moves,
Okay.
exploit their weaknesses, and then strike at just the right moment.
That's a great way to put it.
And that's what separates the truly great sprinters
Right.
from the merely fast ones.
The mental game.
The mental game, absolutely.
That ability to strategize, adapt, and push through fatigue.
Yeah, when that lactic acid is burning in your muscles.
It's intense.
And, we can't forget about the drive phase.
The what?
The drive phase, that critical moment when
Okay.
the sprinter pushes off the blocks and
Right.
generates that initial burst of acceleration.
Of the block.
Out of the blocks, exactly.
Okay.
It's power technique and explosiveness all rolled into one.
You're losing me a little bit with the technical jargon.
Sorry.
Break it down for us non-sprinters.
Okay.
What makes a good drive phase?
All right. Imagine like a coiled spring suddenly released.
Okay.
That's the kind of power a sprinter needs to generate
Gotcha.
in those first few steps of a race.
Okay.
It's about pushing off the blocks with maximum force,
Okay.
driving the knees high,
Mm-hmm.
and maintaining this forward lean.
To reduce wind resistance.
Exactly, to minimize that air resistance.
So it's not just about raw leg strength then?
No, it's about coordinating your whole body, using every muscle group in perfect harmony.
To propel yourself forward.
Precisely. And
Yeah.
that's where coaching and biomechanical analysis becomes so crucial.
Okay.
You know, Lyles, with his experience and his deep understanding of sprinting mechanics,
Right.
he can help Gout refine his drive phase,
Yeah.
optimize his stride length,
Okay.
and ultimately, you know, shave those precious hundredths of a second off his time.
It's incredible how much goes into it.
It really is.
So we've talked about the physical training, the technical refinement,
Mm-hmm.
but what about the mental aspect?
Right.
How does a young athlete prepare for the pressure cooker of international competition?
Yeah.
The weight of a nation's expectations,
Especially with the 2032 Olympics,
right in his own backyard.
right on the horizon.
That's got to be a lot to handle.
It is, and that's where mental conditioning becomes just as important as the
Ooh.
physical training.
Okay.
It's about developing resilience, learning to manage that anxiety.
Building that unshakable self-belief.
Exactly. And I mean, who better to guide him through that process? Right.
Than someone who's been there.
Who stood on that Olympic podium
Yeah.
and felt the eyes of the world watching.
Felt that pressure firsthand.
I mean, Lyles, with his cool demeanor and an unwavering focus,
Mm-hmm.
seems like the perfect mentor for that.
He does.
He's got that quiet confidence that's both inspiring and contagious.
Yeah, but, let's not forget, Gout's own personality seems to play a role here, too.
Oh, yeah, he's been described as humble.
Right.
I'm almost surprised by his own success.
It's refreshing.
Do you think that that kind of attitude could actually be an asset
Mhm.
in handling all that pressure?
Yeah.
It really is interesting, you know, because you hear about so many athletes getting caught up in all the hype,
Right.
letting the pressure get to them.
Yeah, they crack under pressure.
But Gout just seems to have this like zen-like calm about him.
He does.
You know, like he's just enjoying the ride,
Yeah,
letting his talent speak for itself.
it's pretty incredible.
That's almost like a secret weapon.
It is. While his competitors are all busy psyching themselves up,
Yeah.
battling their nerves,
Standing in their own heads.
Gout's over there just vibing,
Right.
completely focused on the race.
That mental fortitude,
Yeah.
that's invaluable on a stage as big as the Olympics.
Okay, so let's fast forward to 2032.
Right.
Olympics are in Brisbane,
In his hometown?
Gout's hometown.
Yeah.
He's 24 years old in his athletic prime.
At the peak of his powers.
What's that scene like?
Oh, man.
Paint us a picture.
All right, so the stadium is electric.
Okay,
The crowd is a sea of green and gold chanting his name.
I can hear it now.
He steps onto the track,
Hmm.
that same calm focus in his eyes.
Yeah.
The starter pistol fires. He explodes out of the blocks,
Mhm.
just a blur of motion.
It's like a force of nature unleashed.
It really is.
I'm getting chills just thinking about it.
I know.
But, beyond all the spectacle,
Yeah.
beyond the potential for gold medals, what really strikes me about Gout's story
Mhm.
is its universality.
Yeah.
It's about more than just sprinting.
It's about human potential.
Right. It's about the power of dreams.
It absolutely. I mean,
Here is a kid,
the son of South Sudanese migrants.
right, who found his passion
Yeah.
on the track.
And he's not just representing Australia, he's representing a generation.
Yeah, a whole generation of young people who dare to dream big,
Exactly.
regardless of their background or their circumstances.
It's a powerful message.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's a story about breaking down barriers,
Mm-hmm.
defying expectations,
Yeah.
proving that with hard work, dedication, and a little bit of talent,
And a whole lot of heart.
anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
And I think that's why his story resonates with so many people.
I agree.
He's a symbol of hope,
He really is.
an embodiment of the human spirit's ability
Yeah.
to triumph over adversity.
To overcome any obstacle.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
I want to leave our listeners with this thought.
Okay.
What if we're not just witnessing the rise of a sprinting star,
Mm.
but a cultural icon in the making?
Interesting.
Someone whose impact extends far beyond the track,
Yeah.
inspiring a whole generation to chase their dreams.
To embrace their own potential.
It's a pretty amazing thought, isn't it?
It really is. And it's one we'll definitely be following closely
Oh, for sure.
in the years to come. Because Gout's story,
Yeah.
it's just beginning.
And the best chapters
Are yet to be written.
So keep your eyes on this young man, folks.
Yeah, keep listening.
Keep learning.
Keep diving deep into the stories that matter.
Because you never know where inspiration will strike next.